Hello, everybody, and welcome here up at BSN Network. Today is Friday, May 6th. Coming off another big night last night in the world of sports. A lot of sports going on, a lot of fun sports going on right now. It has been a wild couple of days. I apologize for not uploading the past couple of days. I got a video up on Monday, did not get a video up on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Was going to get a video up on Wednesday, which was 2 days ago. I was going to, but then I decided not to because I was up against it with the Yankee game, and as you all know, I do the scorebook for the Yankees games. So I had my scorebook ready, and it was I had like 20 minutes until the Yankee game, and I was planning on doing a quick video, I was planning on doing like a quick 15-minute video. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait till Friday. Just get a video done then. So that's going to be today. Kind of just an encapsulation of what has gone on this week because it's been wild. You have the Rangers playoff series that has begun. Last night, the Rangers got the win. Tuesday night was the triple overtime game. Penguins got the win, so the series is tied up there at 1-1. We'll give you an update, give you kind of everything that's gone on in the series. You had the Yankees and the Mets going crazy. Yankees right now, atop the AL East. Mets atop the NL East. Mets last night with the big 7-run comeback, 7-1 lead. They come back in the top of the ninth, and for the first time, I believe, since, 86, the Mets made this dominant comeback, and really something that you don't see very often, especially coming from the New York Mets. So, a great win last night for them. It's been a very fun time for New York sports. I can't believe I'm saying that, because right now in New York sports, there's a lot of positives going on. You got Rangers playoffs, which is always a positive. You have Yankees that's been rolling. They did lose on Thursday to the Blue Jays, but they've been Wednesday to the Blue Jays, but they've been rolling. Their game tonight got postponed. They'll be playing a doubleheader tomorrow, if that even happens. It's supposed to rain all the rest of today and all of tomorrow. So who even knows if that game gets in? But I know they lost on Wednesday. They obviously had a day off yesterday. But they still took 2 out of 3 against Toronto. And the Mets last night with the major comeback that they had, they also got postponed today. So a lot of rain going on the East Coast right now. And it's affecting the Yankees and the Mets, and obviously, so hopefully it can, stop, raining, for 4 hours or 8 hours, however long it's going to take to play 2 games, 18 innings worth of baseball, so the Yankees can get those games in. We'll see, obviously, how that all plays out if they get those games in. But it's been a fun week, and it's been a very successful week. And right now, Yankees, Mets playing very well. Rangers tied it up last night, so a surprising but a very, very exciting time in the world of New York sports. And both football teams, there's a lot of positivity around them. Both the Jets and the Giants had very good drafts. Rookie mini camp today started. Got to see Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, and Breece Hall, and the rest of the rookies, and all the rest of the undrafted free agent guys. The 68-man roster that's out there for rookie minicamp, they were all out there today inside the Dome at Florham Park 1 Jets Drive over in Florham Park 1 Jets Drive. You had that going on today as well. So a lot going on, a lot of excitement, a lot of fun stuff, and a lot to get to as well. Like I said, I apologize. As you all know, 'tis the season. I play baseball, so I have a tough time getting pods in. But whenever I can, will always get them in. And so it's been an exciting week. And obviously, with the Rangers being the postseason and the Yankees and all that, I watch those games at night. So I'm not going to do a podcast during the middle of a Rangers playoff game because I'm not going to do it. Nor am I going to do a podcast in the middle of a Yankee game because I'm going to watch the Yankees and I'm going to be doing the scorebook. So obviously it's tough sometimes to do those podcasts, especially if I do them later on in the day because I'm watching my sports and watching my sports teams play later on and all that good stuff. So with all that being said, let's get to the topics. And I have 2 topics today. We're going to start off with the Rangers and Penguins, get you caught up to date on what's going on in the series. Tuesday night's game was crazy. Last night's game was a much more normal, just 3 periods of hockey. Rangers took the win 5-2. The storylines have been all over the place. The goaltending for the Penguins is up in the air. This series through 2 games, we've seen 9 periods of hockey. You had the 6 regulation periods, and you had the 3 overtime periods. We've seen like 9 hours worth of hockey in 2 games. Lots been going on, a lot of action, but the Rangers got the win last night, tied it up, and now tomorrow night they'll be in Pittsburgh for 2 games there. And if you can come out of Pittsburgh taking 2, you go back home Game 5 at MSG on Wednesday, that'd be pivotal if you're the New York Rangers. So we'll get you caught up to date on that series. We'll get you Yankees Mets, going to get you to the season success for both teams, kind of give you an update on both teams, and obviously talk about last night's wild game with the Mets and the Phillies. Just a wild game. I saw the highlights. I've watched the replays. I was obviously watching the Rangers, so I didn't see it live. But I did get the updates on my phone. I was watching the highlights. I saw that great stuff. So a great comeback for the Mets. And I'm not a Met fan. Not at all. Not anywhere near it. But, got to give it to them. It was a great comeback. It was a great win. And, I mean, one of those, the Mets right now are playing great baseball. And so are the Yankees and both baseball teams in New York dominating right now. We'll get to that. And then we'll get to the New York Sports Update. And finish things off today, like I said. Yankees, Mets both postponed today. Rangers will be back in action tomorrow night at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Game 3 of the 7-game series. Rangers look to take a 2-1 lead. If you can get the win tomorrow against the Penguins, you'll be in really good shape. Because then you're up 2-1. That makes game 4 a must-win for the Penguins. Because if you're the Penguins, you can't fall down 3-1 going back to MSG. You just can't do it. So Rangers, if you can win tomorrow, that puts all the pressure on the Penguins on Monday. And then if you win Monday, Penguins' backs are against the wall for the rest of the series because they'll be down 3-1. So tomorrow's a big game for the Rangers. They could really would be a big win if they can get the job done tomorrow. All right. So with all that being said, a lot to get to. This is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so the Rangers-Penguins series is all tied up at 1. Obviously, the first game was on Tuesday. Penguins took the win there 4-3 in triple overtime. Really was just a frustrating, disappointing loss. You had the goaltender interference call that was not goaltender interference whatsoever. Kakko was going in for, he had kind of a slight breakaway. He was going in, he had it on his, skate, his stick, tried to go across and flip it up top shelf with his backhand. He got pushed into the goalie, passed the back. Hedl scored on the open net. It was a goal, then they overturned it. Penguins ended up winning in triple overtime by getting Malkin Tippin. And then last night the Rangers were able to get the win 5-2. And they were able to do that last night pretty commandingly. And it was big third quarter. Took a commanding lead. I don't know what I'm talking about there. Took a commanding lead of the Penguins there, winning it 5-2, and they were able to get the win there. 5-2, like I said, go into the third period up 3-2. You need to come out in the third period, have a big period. They score up 4-2, score again up 5-2, and right now, the Penguins are in a debacle with their goaltender situation. Who knows what they're going to be? So Rangers come out of this series tied 1-1, and yesterday was obviously a must-win for the New York Rangers. It was a must-win because you had to have won yesterday. I can tell you this, in almost every series that I've seen in any playoff, in any sport, baseball, basketball, or hockey, obviously not football because they don't do 7-game series, as you all know, but in any sport, baseball, basketball, or hockey, you got to win. If you lose game 1, you got to win game 2. And the reason that is because either A, you're down 2-0, and that then puts your back up against the wall for the next 2 games because even if you split the next 2 games, then you're still down 3-1. And B, situation like the Rangers were in last night, if they would have fell down 2-0, well, no, they go empty-handed at home. Now they got to go on the road and play 2 more, and that's a real tough situation. So last night was a must-win. And going into that third period last night, I was thinking to myself, this is the biggest period of hockey so far this season with the Rangers, and we will learn a lot about this team going into this third period. We will learn a lot about their fight. We will learn a lot about their energy. We will learn a lot about how much that first game took out of them in terms of speed, energy, and overall momentum. And the Rangers responded great. Now, the start of the third period was not excellent. Penguins were getting a lot of opportunities. They had a very good forecheck early on. Rangers had a couple turnovers. There was a couple nice passes by the Penguins, a couple really good saves by Igor Shesterkin. He probably made 3 or 4 really good saves on grade A chances that were generated by the Penguins. And the Rangers, it was kind of the split. It was kind of two halves of the period. The first 5 to 10 minutes were dominated by the Penguins, and the last 5 to 10 minutes was dominating by the Rangers. And last night, what you saw in the third period was a Rangers team that when it steps up and when it plays defense and when it has a good forecheck and when it limits the turnovers and when it doesn't always rely on their goaltender to make a million saves, this can be a team that's really, really dangerous. And I know the series is tied 1-1. I get that. And if you're a Penguin fan today, despite the loss last night and despite your goaltending situation, you're okay with coming out of New York tied 1-1. Because now you go home. If you win Game 3, you're in a really good spot. But, like I said, for the Rangers' sake, you needed to win last night. And as a Ranger fan, you got to feel good right now because you got the win last night. The Penguins right now are in a goaltending debacle. You scored 5 goals last night. You already have the upper hand, and the Penguins are down to their third-string goalie. Casey DeSmith, the announcement came out today that he's out for the rest of the postseason. Means also is the equivalent to the rest of the season in general. And you haven't heard anything on Tristan Jarry, so you're down to Dominique, and then their fourth-string goalie that would be behind him. So last night was a big commanding win. And last night, I think it was really, really big as a Ranger fan. In between that intermission, I'm thinking to myself, this is the biggest period, of hockey this season. You got to come out in this period. You got to dominate. You got to come out. You got to score goals. You got to you got to push the net, get pressure, shoot the puck. Shoot it. And that's kind of every time the Rangers have the puck, I'm like, shoot the puck. Because when you're going up against a third-string goaltender for the other team, you got to shoot it. Put it on net. It's going to go through. It's going to happen. I mean, look at Panarin. He went in with he kind of passed it a little bit and it went off the guy's skate and went in. He wasn't trying to do too much, but he was trying to pass it back out. He passed it into traffic and boom, it went in off the defender's skate. When you pass the puck, when you shoot the puck, when you put the puck in front of the net, anywhere near the net, good things are going to happen. It might not be pretty, but good things are going to happen. I felt like in Game 1, especially in overtime, and late in that third period, I felt the Rangers were being a little too fancy. We're making too many passes. One too many passes. Panarin had a couple chances to just put it right on net. Instead, he maybe passed it back out, resetting up at the top. Maybe whether it was this guy, whether it could be anybody. It could have been anybody. That it could have been Panarin. It could I'm just to name some guys. I mean, it could have been. It could have been anybody. But the Rangers, I felt in Game 1, were a lot more kind of pass heavy, getting passes here and there. And obviously the goalie made some great saves, but I felt yesterday, especially in that third period, the Rangers finally were putting pucks on net, getting shots up, just continuing to get shots and shots and shots and shots. And that's what you need. And yesterday, what we saw last night, specifically in that third period, is what we should see from this Ranger team the rest of this series. And that is a team that is the better team, got the better goaltending, and overall the better roster. And I've said that for the longest time now. Rangers are the better team than the Penguins. Right? And that was shown in the regular season. The Rangers are the better team than the Penguins. That was shown in the regular season, and that was shown again last night. So, really good win last night for the Rangers. 1-5-2. Big third period there. And like I said, there was still some turnovers. I mean, I go back to the Panarin one. That was a tough one. He had the turnover in the neutral zone. Penguins take it. Jake Ensel scores a goal. That stuff can't happen. But I really felt like Panarin had a great feed to Andrew Kopp early in the game. Early on, I think it was only probably about 6 minutes in maybe. Trying to think. I could check here. 6:50. So 6 minutes, 50 seconds, and almost 7 minutes in. That's when the Rangers scored their first goal. So that was pivotal early on. That was a big goal. Great feed by Panarin. He had 3 points last night. He had the goal and the 2 assists. And obviously the one goal was off the defender's skate. But like I said, when you put the puck on net, when you put it in front of the net, when you put it in traffic, good things are going to happen. It might not be the prettiest goal of all time. That one's not going to go up there amongst the prettiest. It went off the defender's skate and in. But is it a goal? Is it a point? Do you take a lead off of it? Yeah. Do you extend your lead? Yeah. Does it count in the stat sheet? Yeah. So that's what happens when you put those pucks on net like that. Igor played great, 39 saves on 41 shots from the Penguins. You obviously come out of the second period. You have a really good start to the second period. A tough ending to the second period where you have 3 guys on Sidney Crosby. No one's able to really completely take the puck. Passes it back, gets it back, and a score. Nice pass by Brian Rust to find him in front of the net. And then, like I said, in the third period, you had Panarin that got the goal, and Frank Vatrano, who at first I thought it was unassisted, but Braden Schneider did get the assist. From Frank Vatrano. So a beautiful goal from Frankie V, which put the Rangers up 5-2. And like I said, other than that, it was yet again another dominant performance from Igor Shesterkin. But look, like I said, from what I saw last night, and this is big, Rangers power play has been very good. Rangers penalty kill has been very good. Biggest thing for me is limit the penalties. Get the shots on goal. Limit the turnovers, especially in your offense, especially in your own zone. They started off the third period with a little rough, but I thought last night the response from the Rangers team after a long game 1. And I wanted to say this earlier, but I kind of got talking about, just the game in general. I kind of forgot to hit this. But what I loved most about this game last night was how the Rangers started. They were playing with a lot of energy. They were hitting. They were physical. They were coming out firing. They were coming out like they were coming out like it was their first game of the season, and they were skating all over the place. They were quick. They were fast. They were getting shots. They were getting opportunities. They were getting pressure on the net. I mean, the Rangers dominated for the first 10 minutes of that game, and it resulted in a goal by Andrew Kopp. And that was a great response by the Rangers, and that's just great coaching by Gerard Gallant, getting his guys dialed back in after a heartbreaking loss in Game 1, getting them dialed back in and getting them ready to get back out there in Game 2 and perform the way they did last night. And then the hit on Shesterkin, too, one other thing I want to hit was completely ridiculous. And I know the announcers were obviously saying all types of stuff. I'll tell you this. Shesterkin was not trying to put his left leg out. Shesterkin turned around, was giving the puck to Fox, and the guy ran right into him. No other excuse. It was a dirty play. It's just a terrible play. It's a dirty play. It's a dirty play. Really is. I mean, you see the goaltender turning around. You should not be running into him like that. It was a dirty play. I like their response too. Reeves started to lay a couple hits. I think genuinely this Ranger team has each other's back. So last night really liked it. And what I really liked most coming out of last night was, like I said, a couple things. Number one, the way they started. Started really well, and I think that put the pressure on early. Because I think the Penguins were definitely sluggish. And I think part of that is the Rangers are the younger team. Sure, the Penguins have more playoff experience, but the Rangers are the younger team. Penguins are kind of the old guys. They're kind of the guys that might not bounce back after a third 3 overtime game as well as the Rangers are, right? I like that. And the third period too, although it was a slow start, the Rangers bounced back from that slow start. And I think the Rangers realized how big of a period that was for their entire season. They stepped up big, made the plays when they needed to make, and got the big win. 5-2 Rangers win. Like I said, the goals came from Andrew Kopp, Kreider, Panarin, Strome, and Frankie V finished it off for the New York Rangers last night. So 5-2, series tied 1-1. Tomorrow night on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT. We'll be at Pittsburgh for 2. And look, it looks like it's going to be Dominique again for the Penguins. And you got to feel confident if you're a Ranger fan that you can put pucks past this guy. I mean, you put 5 past him last night. The Rangers have scored 8 goals in these 2 games. So there hasn't been any issues with goals. They've outscored the Penguins 8-6. within these first two games. The big thing now is just going out tomorrow night in a road environment. You know that place is going to be packed. Big game. If you win tomorrow night, that's huge. Because now that sets up Monday's game to almost be a must-win for the Penguins. Because if they lose Monday's game, the Penguins and the Rangers go up 3-1. Now the Penguins' backs are against the wall. They need to win 3 straight and come back from down 3-1. And that includes would be winning 2 on the road. So tomorrow night's big. I've always said this. Whoever gets to 2 games, 2 wins first in the series, I'm sure there's numbers to back it up, is big. Because now that makes that next game that much bigger for the other team. So, big game tomorrow night will be the Rangers' first true road test. But like I said, you got to like what you saw last night. It was a very exciting game. It was a very good game. Igor Shesterkin was brilliant yet again. Panarin did his job. 3 points, 2 assists, and a goal. Just an all-around really good night and a really good response after a tough loss on Tuesday. A really good response from a New York Ranger team that needed that big-time response, and they did just that last night. So a really good win, 5-2, and now tomorrow night in Pittsburgh, Rangers-Penguins Game 3. I got to admit, I'm honest with you guys, when I feel confident, when I don't feel confident. I do feel confident how the rest of this series was going to play out. And the reason I feel so confident is what I saw last night. And what I saw last night was a team that was energized, was a team that was fired up, ready to go, and was a team that I really do think took that game 1 loss and using it as fuel the rest of the way. That's really what I saw last night, and that's what I think we're going to continue to see. I think the Rangers win tomorrow night. I'm pretty confident in that. I know I'm not going to touch the money. I don't want to get too confident. You gotta have the right amount of confidence. But I do believe in this team to get the job done, and I'm hoping that they can do just that. And we'll see how the rest of the series plays out. But so far, been a very great series 2 games into this. So just to give you how the rest of the series is supposed to play out. So tomorrow night they'll play. Monday they're going to play. Wednesday, Friday. And then if needed, Game 5 will be... I apologize. If needed, Game 6 will be Wednesday. And if needed, Game 7 will be next Sunday. So that's kind of it. So... yeah, big game tomorrow night. If the Rangers can win that, that's a really big win. So, good win last night for the Rangers. Great bounce back, and now we get ready for Game 2. Alrighty, coming up next, we're going to get to the Yankees and the Mets and their season success early on. This is one of the best starts. This is the best start I've ever witnessed out of the Yankees and the Mets combined in my entire life. We're going to get to the Yankees and the Mets, and especially the Mets' big-time comeback last night in Philadelphia against the Phillies. We'll get to that and much more coming up next. Alrighty, we welcome you back here up at the podcast here today, Friday, May 6th, getting ready for the weekend. Yankees, Rangers tonight postponed. Mets, Phillies tonight postponed. Man, I hate the rain. Really do hate the rain. Especially when it comes to baseball. Football and rain mix, I guess, better together. But baseball and rain, not a good combination whatsoever. This is a great time in New York sports. Great time in New York sports. So, you obviously got the Rangers getting the win last night. Series tied up 1-1 like I just talked about. You have the Yankees starting off their season on a high note. As we all know, they're 18-7. We wait and hope that they can get their doubleheader into tomorrow against the Texas Rangers, which will start up a homestand for them, coming off of a road trip that was 3 in Kansas City and 3 more in Toronto. So it was obviously a little bit of a longer road trip for the Yankees. Not what was it, like a 6-game road trip? Not that crazy long. They come out of that road trip and they were 5-1 in those 6 games, and they're 18-7. You obviously got the Rangers, like I said, Jets and Giants as well. Everyone's happy about their drafts. Rookie minicamp started up today, so it was exciting to see Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, and all those Jets draft picks in the green and white Garrett Wilson and all them suiting up for the first time today in the Dome at Florham Park and One Jets Drive. And you obviously had the Rangers that too, but you obviously had the Mets last night that came back and got a massive win over the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 8-7. And last night was really one of those games that if you're a New York Met fan, you will never forget. And for those involved, you will never forget. And for the Phillies, if you're a Phillies fan, you'll never forget it, but you're going to try to forget it. And if you're a Philly fan right now watching this video, you might want to turn this off and skip to the end or just completely turn off this video for the day, because your team last night was just imploded in the ninth inning. I mean, you talk about an utter beatdown of a division rival. You were doing just that. They score 4 in the bottom of the first, add on 1 more in the bottom of the second, and then just for good measure, add 2 more on in the fourth. Now, I've always said, and you always kind of think about like where leads get to where it's like out of hand. And, like a 3-run lead, not bad. 4-run lead, not bad. You get into the 5s, it starts to get a little iffy. But anything from 5+, it's like that's a lead that you should win the game no matter what. 4-run leads, really, it could take one swing of the bat. You get the bases loaded, one guy takes one hack of the bat. A 5-1 game turns into a 5-5 game just like that. 3-run leads obviously aren't very safe. We all know 1, 2-run, 3-run leads are not that safe. 4-run leads, like I said, you have a little bit more space. 5-run leads are pretty big. But then you get after 5 and you get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth. Get to the teens where you're just dominating teams and you have no chance. The Phillies last night had a 7-run lead. They were winning 7-0 out of the first 4 innings. 4 in the bottom of the first, bottom of the second they added 1 more, and in the bottom of the fourth they added 2 more. 7-0 they're winning going into the top of the fifth. Nothing happens in the top of the fifth. In the top of the sixth, the Mets put on a lone one run. So during this time, like I said, I'm watching the Rangers game, right? I'm not watching the Mets game. I'm watching the Rangers game. Obviously, Yankees had a night off, so it wasn't like I had the Yankee game on my phone. I'm watching the Rangers game. So, in between commercials, in between intermissions, I always look at my phone and look at what's going on, look at fantasy baseball. I'll go on, the Rangers and look around, and see what people are saying about the game, and I'll look at the stats and stuff. I'll kind of do all that just kind of get caught up to date, because usually during the periods, any game I watch, I'm usually I'm dialed in. I'm watching the game. I'm not doing anything else. I'm dialed in. I'm watching hockey. I do every sport. I do it. I'm dialed in. I'm watching. Not on my only during commercials, and not even that much during commercials. But a lot of times, either during commercials or in their mission, I'll check my phone. So I look on my phone. I want to say I don't know if it was a commercial or if it was a intermission. I don't know what it quite was. But I see, I look at fantasy baseball and I see Tom Walker's got me negative 10 points. So I go on fantasy baseball, I look at it, I'm like, God, he's getting drilled. And to show you Tom Walker's stats yesterday, he pitched 4 innings, allowed 9 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, allowed 2 home runs. Through 80 pitches, ERA now is spiked up to 4.91. So a game to forget if you're Taijuan Walker, and a game to remember if you're a Met fan. The one lone member of the New York Mets that's going to want to forget this game is Taijuan Walker. That's the one guy. Other than that, this one's going to be one that you want to put up on the wall for years to come. So I see the score, and I'm like, gosh, they're dominant. I see Bryce Harper at home run. I'm like, all right, that's good for me in fantasy. And then all of a sudden, it's towards the end of the third period, and the Rangers and Penguins go to commercial. And I look at my phone while they're at commercial. And I was planning on going to check how fantasy baseball was doing, because I didn't check it until for a little while. And I see on my phone Mets come back. And I look at it, and for a second I was like, what is this? Like, is this a comeback? Does this mean or does this mean they're making a comeback where it's like 7-4, 1 out, bases loaded? Or does this mean they came back? And I press on it, and I see the score right now. The Mets are winning 8-7. And I looked at the score and they were winning 8-7. I see it's going to the bottom of the ninth, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my Lord, what just happened? So I finished watching the Rangers game and end up turning on the Met game. Or not turning on the Met game. Finished watching the Rangers game. Obviously, that ends up playing out by a Rangers win. And after that game, I I go back and I watch the highlights. I just watched the highlights from the ninth inning because there was just highlights from the ninth inning. And I mean, the New York Mets just came alive. I mean, these are things that you don't see very often. Starling Marte coming up big. Francisco Lindor coming up big. And the Philadelphia Phillies with an utter disaster and a meltdown last night. I mean, their bullpen was brutal. Norwood coming in, blowing it with 4 runs, and then Corey Knebel coming in, blowing it with 3 runs. And the worst of all, I mean, this was awful. This was terrible. This was embarrassing if you're the Philadelphia Phillies. And for the New York Mets, this is something that will go down in history as one of the biggest comebacks of all time, something Mets fans have not seen since '86 and since those olden days of the New York Mets. I mean, what we saw last night, you don't get to see very often in baseball. A 7-run comeback in the top of the ninth, 8-7 Mets win. And the Phillies, you have a chance to start your 4-game set with a commanding victory, with a commanding win, with a kind of, you had the last series where you got no hit, you lost 2 out of 3, with a commanding start to the series. And you do this. I mean, the Phillies, with the load of talent that they have been a very underwhelming team. And as much as I think Joe Girardi's a very good manager, a lot of this is on him. Just the situational stuff right now has not been good. I mean, you got a great performance from your starting pitcher. Great performance from Aaron Nola. Struck out 7 for a Mets lineup that's been tearing up teams to start this year. And now the Phillies fall to 11-15. Phillies look bad. And they went out and got Castellanos and Schwarber. And, you look at their rotation and they've got some guys in there as well. They reinforced the bullpen a little bit. You add that to a combo with Alec Boehm, Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Real Muto that's already in place, Gene Segura, all those guys. And it's almost like the Phillies are getting worse. And for the New York Mets, this is just another one of these wins that makes you wonder how good this team can be. And the reality is, right now, it looks like the sky's the limit for the New York Mets, and same thing with the New York Yankees. I mean, New York baseball right now is hitting it out of the ballpark. I mean, the Yankees are 18 wins, Mets have 19 wins. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is crazy. And what you saw last night was something you don't see very often, a 7-run top of the ninth. And Edwin Diaz comes in the bottom of the ninth and does his job, strikes out 2 batters, and obviously, worked a very easy inning, threw 14 pitches, pounded in 9 strikes. His ERA now is down to 1.50. That's his 6th save on the season. I mean, a great win last night for the New York Mets. And these are the type of wins where, things aren't going right, and you come out and you stole this game. I mean, this is a victory that you stole. This should not have been a win if you're the Phillies. I mean, the Phillies should have won this game. And they blow it. And one thing I could say about this game, and this is just sometimes what a manager does to a team with the Mets. You can automatically, guarantee that the Mets are not going to go down without a fight with Buck Showalter as their manager. And it showed last night. Even if they lost last night, you knew they were going to at least compete a little bit. And you now know that from now on. That as long as Buck Showalter is wearing that Mets cap with those baseball pants and a pullover, sitting in the dugout for the New York Mets, however long that is going to last. Right now, it seems like it's going to last a long time because he's having great success, 19-9 right now through the first 28 games of the season, leading in the NL East. As long as he's the manager, Mets are going to fight. And they're going to fight every inning. And they're not going to go down without a fight. And teams around baseball have to be aware of that. Last night, I think really put the Mets on the map to be one of those teams that could be making a lot of these comebacks for the rest of this season. Because with an old school manager like that, with a manager that, wants his team to compete night in, night out, and with a manager that is going to be angry and is not going to take it lightly if you get smoked, especially against a division rival like the Phillies on the road, too, where you'd like to do some damage, and the Mets did just that. And a lot of that's Buck Showalter. A lot of that's guys, going all in. A lot of that's guys really just putting together good at-bats late in games, and just having a comeback like that was just unbelievable. So a great win for the New York Mets. Like I said, I did not see it live. I was watching the Rangers game, but I have saw the highlights. Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, all those guys coming in big. And a great win for the New York Mets. Now, their game today did get postponed. So I don't know what they're going to do with that game, whether or not they're going to play it, whether or not they're going to, I assume they'd probably play tomorrow as a doubleheader. Right now, though, the weather does not look great for tomorrow either. It doesn't look great. Now, Yankee game today got postponed, and the Yankees have also been dominant. 12-game win streak, or 11-game win streak obviously got snapped on Wednesday, but still, dominant right now for the Yankees. 18-7. Right now, overall, they have the best record in baseball at 18-7. They are just dominating all over the place, have a run differential of plus 49, which is second best in baseball, only behind the Dodgers, who have a plus 57 run differential. And like I said, they're 9-1 in their last 10, and they're 10-3 at home. They're taking care of business at home. Their pitching's been phenomenal. Cole's past 2 starts have been great. And if you're the New York Yankee and you're a Yankee fan like me, you got to feel great with what you're seeing. This is the lineup that looks completely different than last year. They're hitting with runners in scoring position. The bottom of the order is producing. IKF's coming through big. Your defense has been phenomenal. Judge is heating up. Stanton's heating up. LeMahieu's back to the DJ LeMahieu we all saw prior to last year, which he obviously played through last season with an injury, and it was obviously evident as he did not have as good a season as we all expected and hoped last year out of him. He's back to the DJ LeMahieu we all know and love, and that's one of the best hitters in baseball. But it's been great to see. And the Yankees right now at 18-7 are playing excellent, excellent baseball. And they're doing it. And they're doing it, like I said, they're doing it with all sorts. They're doing it in so many different ways. They're doing it, with hits. They're doing it with offense. They're doing it with defense. Both sides of the ball, they're dominating right now. And they're getting great production from their pitching staff. And that's great to see. Because when you want to win, you need to have good pitching. You need to have that good hitting. All around, Yankees have been playing great, great baseball. Obviously got postponed today. They'll play tomorrow, and then on Sunday they'll play a doubleheader. So Game 1 on Sunday, they'll play a doubleheader. And Game 2 on Sunday, they'll play a doubleheader. So 1:35 and 5:05 is what it's looking like there. They'll host the Texas Rangers. And like I said, today's game got postponed. But a great start to the season. And after this, you have 2 against the Blue Jays, and then White Sox for 4 games there, and then 4 against the Orioles, and then the White Sox again, and then the Orioles. That's funny. That's a funny stretch. You have the White Sox for 4, then you have the Orioles for 4, then the White Sox for 3, then the Orioles for 3. That's a very interesting stretch where you play 2, starting on May 12th. 13 days, the Yankees will play 2 teams. White Sox for 4 games, then the Orioles for 4 games, and the White Sox for 3 games, then the Orioles for 3 games. It's definitely an interesting stretch of games there. But a lot to like if you're a Yankee fan. And you got to feel so good about it, too, because you went into this season, and your expectations have kind of been But this team's making comebacks. They're hitting with runners in scoring position. They're getting the big hits. They're getting power. Up and down the lineup, they're hitting. Rizzo's been phenomenal. Judge, Stanton, LeMahieu, Falefa, all these guys have been stepping up and playing big, big roles for this team. The bullpen, Michael King's been phenomenal. The pitching staff's been phenomenal. The Yankees all around have been one of the best teams in baseball to start the season. So it's been a great start for the New York Yankees. It's been a great start for the New York Mets. In the past couple days have been a great, great time for New York sports, with the Rangers winning, Yankees playing well, Mets making the comeback last night. An exciting time right now if you're a New York sports fan. And we'll get to the New York sports update and rest of the sports today. As for the NHL, you got the Bruins-Penguins tonight. I can see the Bruins winning this game. I think, or actually, I'll take the Bruins at home. I can see them winning this game. I don't see them winning the series, but I could see them pulling it out tonight. Lightning, Maple Leafs. I like the Maple Leafs here. Or Lightning, rather. I think the Lightning, game 1, they obviously ran out of town 5-0. Game 2, they bounced back. I think they win again tonight at home. Blues, Wild. I'll take the Wild. And Oilers, Kings. Give me the Kings. Kings. All right, and as for the NBA, got the Heat and Sixers. I'll take the Heat. And Mavericks, Suns, give me the Suns. Baseball today, got the Reds, Pirates, Orioles, Royals, Blue Jays, Guardians, White Sox, Red Sox, Brewers, Braves, A's, Twins, Tigers, Astros, Nationals, Angels, Marlins, Padres, Rays, Mariners, Rockies, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Giants. And as for fantasy baseball, I'm currently winning in both leagues. My secondary league that kind of got started up a little later, I'm winning 166-96. And like I said, in my main league, ton of games postponed today. And like I said, in my main league, I'm currently winning. I'm winning 170 to 133. I've got a couple guys going today. It's so many games postponed, so not as many guys going today as I'd liked, but still got a couple guys going today. We'll see how it all plays out. And that will do it. So, very busy weekend ahead. Yankees, Mets throughout the weekend. Hopefully the weather holds up. Rangers, game 3 tomorrow night. Let's go Rangers. Big game tomorrow night. Hopefully they pull away with the win and get a big victory on the road. And we'll see how that all plays out. And, that will do it. As you all know, I do my Bubs Talking Baseball podcast on Apple Podcast on Sunday. So, for those of you who watch that will be up on Sunday. But for the All Sports Podcast, I will see you all back here, same spot on Monday. Have a very good weekend. Enjoy it all. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekend, so have a very good weekend. Enjoy all the great sports. I will see you all on the flip side. See you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.